Alright, so this is part 2 of Rain Man and Guy Blow watch mermaids on Animal Planet. A body found.
Land. Covered in glaciers. Land must seem a cold and foreign place to them now. A lone scout swims ahead of his pod before they make an open water crossing. The drop-offs that chasm down into dark water are feeding grounds. Whales gather here. And so does the shark that preys on them. Megalodon. A shark as big as a whale. A shark that ate whales. 1.5 million years ago, the creatures would have confronted the greatest monster to ever rule the seas. The pod travels with young. They must be protected at all costs.
That mermaid had a nice rack.
Looks just...
Let's get back to the science, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, of course, they had to show that the mermaids, of course, developed religion. And it showed it right there because he sacrificed himself for the greater good. And that was their Messiah.
It's not religion.
Yeah, that was their Messiah right there. He died for the better half of the pod.
Stop it.
That's the mermaid Messiah.
He did it to preserve the race. It's not religion.
Well,
He's got kids. It's love.
Allegedly, Jesus died for our sins, and allegedly, the mermaid Messiah died for the betterment of the pod.
You don't have to say allegedly. He did.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't mean it worked.
Yeah.
But that's what he did.
I mean, I guess... Yeah, because when you're an animal, I mean, you're not raised in a culture of being afraid to die. So I guess maybe you're raised in a culture where you have the type of train of thought where it's like, okay, I'll cut myself I'll have the blood attract the what was it called, a megalodon?
Something like that. Yeah, I have no idea.
Something about a huge don, which makes sense because it's the godfather of the ocean, the predator.
I mean, to me, when I look at that, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I think it's kind of weird that it would cut itself and let the shark smell it and come get him, because like trout, or I think it's salmon, swim all the way upstream, lay their eggs, and as soon as they lay their eggs, they die from exhaustion, and that's how that species stays in, flowing, because they're not selfish. They give birth and then they die.
Yeah.
So
that's just in their genetic makeup.
Right. So it makes sense. But I don't know about fucking stabbing yourself with a spear and bleeding out so the shark comes and gets you.
Yo, Bramus brought up a good point, though. So once this show did air, it kind of did make 2012 front page news. And what I mean by that is that now that we live in the information age and everything's on the internet, I consider front page news kind of, sort of, whatever's trending on Yahoo or Google News. And this was trending for about 2 days. This and the zombie apocalypse.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. The things that are on this show, are on this station, Animal Planet, are all reputable things. I mean, none of this stuff's made up. They don't have stuff like History Channel where they're doing weird...
Ancient aliens.
Right, exactly.
Where everything's based on what if.
This isn't a show about conspiracy theories. Or a channel about conspiracy theories.
Yes, this isn't True TV.
Right.
Because True TV has an actual show called Conspiracy Theories.
So, yeah, this is Animal Planet, Bremison. So, I don't know if you didn't see that in the 600 tweets I did.
Yeah, so everything has to be based on some type of science journal. Some type of actual facts.
So, by the way, Call the Wild Man, pretty decent show too, by the way. This dude's kind of nuts. He just catches everything with his bare hands.
I just want him to dissect the science of that sound weapon more. I find that stuff fascinating.
I don't know how much they'll get into that, because I don't know how long the military did it afterward, because they're making it sound like this discovery of this animal right here is what it took to stop the military from doing it. Because, I mean, think about it. When's the last time you heard something about whales being beached?
I haven't.
And that kind of stuff always makes news.
Yeah, or it would show up in the Google News slot for environment or health or science. You definitely would see it.
So, I don't know.
Call of the Wild Man.
Let's see, we got to be close to, there we go.
Lights back on.
The body was one of the most important anthropological finds. Possibly one of the most important scientific discoveries in human history. This was an intelligent toolmaker with grasping hands, evolved from a primate ancestor, one that walked upright on land, like us. If this creature is part of the human family tree, how human is it? I remember on the drive out to see the complete skull mold, I remember thinking how perfect it was. Here we were driving through some of the very land where our oldest ancestors had been discovered. And now we're about to meet a new one. Only this wasn't an ancestor. This was somebody still out there.
My name is Dr. Leanne Fisser. I'm a forensic anthropologist in the Department of Human Evolution. I reconstruct the appearance of an individual based on fragments of skull and other bones. A few characteristics immediately stood out. The skull had very large orbits, bigger than any fossil or modern human that I'd ever reconstructed. The eyes would be quite big, and large eyes are found in animals operating in low light. The next thing I noticed was evidence of a skull ridge. Such skull crests are found in some of our relatives, but not in modern humans. Apes have them, and they're also found in some of our early ancestors.
Scanning the reconstructed skull enabled Dr. Visser to map the inside of the brain cavity. She discovered that the parts which in humans correspond to sound interpretation were greatly enlarged.
The opening on the frontal skull fragment was connected to an extensive series of sinus cavities. The shape and features of the skull revealed to us just how elaborate the creature's acoustic capacities really were.
The concave shape in the front of the skull indicated that it had a melon, the specialized mass of fatty tissue that enables dolphins and other whales to echolocate. It wasn't a blowhole. This wasn't used for breathing. It was used to channel sound. The skull reconstruction proved it could do this, that this creature could echolocate. This was the creature that had made the sound. The calls had never been identified.
Echolocation, a form of biosonar. The ability to emit high-frequency sounds that bounce off objects and give the animal a mental map of its environment. Sound used to locate food. Sound used to communicate in the deep blue of the vast ocean.
We now had no doubt that this was the animal that had made the bloop. This was the same animal that was on the 1997 bloop recording. This was the same animal that was on the 2004 Washington State recording, and it was the same animal that was on the South African recording, the one that talked to the dolphins.
The creatures in the dolphins call to one another. Call one another to the hunt. The sardine run. Almost every predator in the ocean will converge in a miles-long caravan of migrating fish. But only two will work together.
Look how it says the dolphin. Oh yeah, the mermaid's in there with them.
Yeah, I don't know why they assume that. I guess just because they were supposedly talking to each other. But I don't think that makes sense either.
We had just found a creature of fable. I mean, that's what we were looking at. All of us had been wanting to say it for days, probably weeks. But scientists aren't supposed to believe in fairy tales. And what we were looking at was a mermaid.
Pizza Hut never stops.
Told you.
He flat out says it. What we were looking at was a mermaid.
Yep. And that's a guy that's smarter than all three of us.
Oh, yeah. A scientist of, how old does he look? Like 35, 36?
Yeah, I mean, the beard gives him a couple more years. He's probably a little younger, but
yeah,
he's been doing this for 15 years.
He's been in the game for a while.
He's got to be around there, yeah.
Yeah. Before we even get into the science about it, how about Dr. Visser and the fact that every female doctor on this show just so happens to be a female model?
Yo, I'm kind of pissed that there's, like, hot doctors out there.
Oh, and you know damn well Dr. Visser, that blonde, that probably looked about 6 foot and banging, but we only saw her, You know, from whatever her chest up during the interview.
What, do you think she's got a big badonkadonk, or do you think that she was just brought in strictly to do the television?
Bro, I'd give you 2 to 1 on your money, and if we could get Dr. Visser on the horn right now, she enjoys anal sex. If you're that deeply intelligent and that good looking,
you're absolutely right.
You were convinced in having anal sex the first time you got drunk when you were 24 at your doctorate school.
Oh no, I don't think that's how they do it. I think that they look at sex as a human pleasurable experience, and they probably feel like all the whatever in your ass.
All the orifices need to be touched by a genitalia?
I don't think orifices is the right word to use. What is though? What's that called, Butters? Come on, Butter. You know, you're a fucking doctor.
Erogenous zone?
Yes, that's what it's called, but what are the things there? Like tendons, not tendons, but like Huh? No, that's a blood thing.
Are you talking about pleasure tentacles? I made that word up.
I think that's what the erogenous zone. I don't know, there's something, I don't know.
Just, I know you know that Dr. Visser enjoys anal.
Yeah, she likes anal. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
My question is, how do these fucking mermaids have sex? I haven't seen any genitalia on them. And I wonder if they milk their young. There's been tits. There's been a nice rack, but there was no nipples.
And these mermaids kind of look like creatures from Pandora. From Avatar.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, they kind of look like them, except with dorsal fins and the ability to swim fast. And then the other doctor that looks like Elaine on Seinfeld, she's just as good looking too, but just on an opposite spectrum. She has dark hair.
Yeah, she likes anal sex because she likes the taboo of it.
Yeah, or she's just probably a sexual explorer. She just looks at it as a challenge.
See, that's what I think the blonde is into.
Yeah, sexual exploration.
I just typed in go to stickcam.com/Rayman Guyblow, and it wrote go to sticksm.com/Twinks and Guyblow.
Oh, when it says, did you mean?
Yeah.
That's probably a show where 2 guys review gay porn.
Very similar to this one.
Yes. With, what's it called? Stick Twinks?
Fuck, it did it again.
It's only a matter of time before all these new television stations beat out regular cable.
What do you mean? Oh, like what we're doing right now?
No, I'm talking about just like TV shows in general, like Animal Planet, National Geographic, and History Channel. I feel like with their new step towards episodic shows or 2-hour documentaries, I feel like sooner or later the vast majority of people are going to be watching these channels instead of your normal Jewish ran basic cable.
Well, I mean I don't know. This is basic cable. This is Animal Planet.
What's this called then? If it's not 6, 10, 13, if it's not your normal stuff. 5 years ago, was Animal Planet even around? So what year was all this spawned?
I would say, yeah, it was around 5 years ago, but it probably sucked ass. I guess what you're saying is instead of like...
And I take that back. Jews run this network too. It just comes hand in hand.
It's not terrestrial.
It's not terrestrial.
It's not syndicated.
I don't know the word for it. Well, this guy's wild.
Yeah, that's the Wild Man.
This is the Wild Man.
Yeah, come on, Bremison. What are we talking about? What are the regular television channels? Come on, fucking Butters, really?
What?
You got nothing?
Oh, no.
You don't know what regular television's called?
I don't know. Basic cable, yeah.
No, it's cable.
Well, then just the rate.
I don't know if this is considered basic cable, though.
You can get Animal Planet without having digital.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't think this is a premium cable channel?
Absolutely not.
No, it's not. Yeah, but they switched over to being more. Yeah, you're right. They switched over in the past few years to be more like.
Yeah, it's more like, yeah, it's more episodic shows, documentaries, instead of just a bunch of guys with a camera in the woods.
If the footage is real, then it's not the one we took off the beach in Washington. That one was in no condition to be transported. I saw what those boys saw. I know what they reported to the Navy was accurate. How do you think people would respond if they knew we were killing an unknown species that was most likely the only surviving relative to humans? Look at how they continue to react to beached whales. If the public ever saw this creature, there would be an uproar.
So I asked myself, how could this thing stay hidden so long? Then you realize that the surface of the moon has been explored more than the deep oceans. And you look at the fact that even to this day, there are still large animals being discovered. There have been 2 new species of whales discovered in just the past decade. These are 30-foot, 40-foot long animals that have never been seen before, never been recorded. Giant animals found for the first time ever in just the past 10 years. So yeah, it's possible. It's still possible to stay hidden. But of course, this animal we found had been recorded before. We have no record, we have no scientific record of them, but there's another record. We know them. We've known them all along.
This is the Ancient Aliens touch on the show right now.
Yeah. By the way, Animal Planet 1996, distributed by Discovery
By
Communications.
sailors the world over. The seafaring Greeks described them, as did the Vikings, as did the Chinese during their great period of maritime exploration. They are recorded in medieval manuscripts and even into the 19th century, when captains of whaling vessels spotted them swimming with pods of whales. Cultures from different continents, people that had no contact with one another, but all of them have stories describing the same mythic creature. Could it be these stories are more than myth? They were recorded in the logs of the voyages of both Christopher Columbus and Henry Hudson, who witnessed humanoid creatures with pale speckled bellies, dark blue backs, and paddle-shaped tails. Could these be accurate descriptions of what they saw? Could other historical evidence provide new insight? Like these 16th century Italian drawings, once thought to be depictions of a human medical anomaly. These sketches may now tell a very different story. Accounts still emerge, like this hastily shot video captured in 2005 off the Adriatic coast. This most recent sighting comes from deep-sea fishermen. The most ancient can be found in a desert left behind by a departed sea. These sandstone caves once looked out over a tidal bay some 30,000 years ago. The water has receded, but the memory of the people who lived there remains, recorded in ancient paintings that cover the cave walls. Archaeologists believe these may be among the oldest mythic images ever made by man. Are they the projected dreams of early fishermen, imagining themselves with tails, swimming out to catch fish with spears and nets? Or are they something else? Humans fought savagely over hunting and fishing grounds. Force was used against rival tribes and against any other competitive threat to a valuable food source. Could that be what these paintings depict? Could these paintings be a record of mankind's conflict with creatures that are now relegated to myth? Did we drive them into extinction? Or did we drive them into hiding? If they persisted, if they survived, they must have hidden somewhere. But where?
Regular television is called broadcast television. That wasn't the word I was looking for, though.
The regular channels is called broadcast?
Yeah, like ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, WB.
Yeah, you know what's good about this little segment on mermaids? It's just about 35 minutes ago. You go, you know what's good about this documentary? Is it's based on facts and scientific journals. It's not like that show Ancient Aliens that takes paintings on walls and just say, well, what if this is what it really means?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Mermaids takes a turn for a little bit of Ancient Aliens.
Well, you got to fill 2 hours of television, you know?
Yeah. You know the sad thing, though? And you both can make fun of me relentlessly for this. I watched that Ancient Alien show kind of religiously, and I think the Greek with the fucked up hair who looks like a stoner is pretty intelligent guy, and I think he's really good at taking a little bit of evidence and a little bit of fact and really, really, really running with it.
He's like the Latino Heat of the History Channel. Like, you give him a fragment and he just paints a picture.
Yeah, and he'll just run with it. Yeah, exactly. That's what he does. He paints pictures with just fragments of facts.
Yep.
Because they found that giant squid, well, remnants of the giant squid, that the Chinese and other people would always do pictures of because when they used to fish. And also, why would they always paint pictures of the mermaids if that's not what they saw? Or do you think everyone was just smoking peyote and was just drug abuse?
Think about it. Every culture has had pictures of dragons across the whole damn world.
Yeah.
Were dragons real?
Yep.
I mean...
Did they all breathe fire in the pictures, Brian?
I don't know.
The vast majority of them, yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's always like it's always a fire-breathing dragon.
The only dragon that I'm aware of is...
The Komodo?
Megalodon from Godzilla movies.
Oh, and Godzuki.
He's the only one that could fly and breathe fire.
And then another good fact that this brought up, too, is that we have more intelligence on the surface of Mars than we do on the surface of our own waters, oceans or sea. And the one part of this showed the mermaid that went to Ariana's Trench. But that's exactly where James Cameron just went.
Yeah, but he was there for 2 hours in a very limited vehicle.
Do you think that he's a firm believer in this stuff, and just because he has unlimited money, he's like, yo, you know what? Instead of doing an internet radio show while I watch it, I'll just go down to the bottom of the ocean myself.
Well, I can't wait till he goes down there more, and the Virgin Mobile guy goes down there with him, and they do some real research.
Yeah, but that's the only way it's going to get done. You need billionaires to pay for the research, or these scientists can't work for free.
Right.
They got to eat, and they got to be able to own homes, and they got to be able to get ass. And the only way you get ass and eat is by making money.
Right. And he's got to make movies to do that.
Yeah, so James Cameron, we all need to
cell phone towers.
Yeah, we all need to support Virgin Mobile and go see Titanic 3D.
Yep. Help James Cameron get to the bottom of the ocean and uncover these mermen.
So he was only down there for 2.5 hours, or was it that the descent was 2.5 hours?
The whole trip was 7 hours
short.
total.
Yeah.
It was, I believe it was 3 down there, and 1 back up. And the only reason I remember 1 back up is because Latino Heat was like, yeah, fucking right, it would take more than that, the pressure would kill him. Like, you're right, Latino, I'm just reading this off of fucking... I made this up, this wasn't news.
Yeah, it got cut short. I think he was supposed to be down for like a lot longer.
Yeah.
He had to come back up because something wasn't working right.
The walls of his submarine had caved in 6 inches due to the pressure. Like, That's how much they had moved. Now, that was expected.
Well, yeah, it's 7.5 miles under the water.
Right, but I mean, that means nothing to me if I don't understand.
I believe Mount Everest is 5 miles high.
Yeah, so.
Right, but people climb to the top of Mount Everest without metal
add
around.
Pressure.
Add another 2.5 miles.
But the pressure underwater is so much more than the pressure you lose going up through air. Like the weight
That
of the
light
water
doesn't
is
work.
so
You need
heavy.
to hit the light on the wall switch. You just turned it off, I think. Oh, there you go. I just turned it down.
I don't think that this outlet works. I gotta take the light.
Oh, no. It does work. Sorry. You need to turn the... That light switch needs to be on. Hold on one second. The light switch needs to be on.
Yep.
And
gotcha.
then just turn the light off on the lamp.
Gotcha.
My bad. I should have told you that. Are you ready? Got about a half hour left, folks.
Before they knew what they had. We've been trailing McCormick's NOAA team since 2004. We followed them to South Africa. We knew what they found was the same species we'd taken off that beach. They had evidence that would bring down the operation. They had physical evidence that could stop us. Do you think we were going to let that happen? But they were advancing our research, so we let them continue. For a while.
By that point, we had concluded in South Africa, and we were preparing the evidence to travel back to the States. But the permitting, once again, the South Africans were being difficult about getting permits to get the evidence out of the country. We should have known at that point what was going to happen.
Well, it's hard to remember it all now. It's hard to remember how excited we were. But the reason I've agreed to do this is because I think it'll help. Becky and I believe that. Brian, however, is a bit more cynical. I think he doesn't have that kind of faith. And I don't blame him. Certainly not after what happened.
They probably confiscated everything.
What the hell's going on here? Where did you get this log?
I tried to restrain Brian. Then after that, I tried to pick him up for weeks, but he was just devastated. We all were.
The police confiscated everything. All the lab tests, all of the files, the skull reconstruction we brought back. And they took the body.
Well, I've certainly never seen anything like it before, and I've worked here for 20 years. This was unprecedented. This was not some normal police raid. This was a slick operation. They came early in the morning when they knew no one would be around. They had all the right documentation. Confiscation of a discovery of national importance. I mean, I've never heard of that before.
We knew who did it. I mean, we all know who was really behind it. The tests, the sonar tests. We prove this, and they have to stop the testing. They have to acknowledge that they have a sonar weapon. And who knows what else they'd have to acknowledge.
All that we had left, the only thing that we had left that they hadn't seized were the bloop recordings. They couldn't take those. Those were already a matter of public record. We were so focused on everything that we'd lost that the government had taken that we didn't realize that everything we needed was in those recordings. The recordings would prove to be everything.
coastal lagoon in the southern hemisphere, where the creatures retreat to warm, protected waters, where a species in decline still clings on.
I think they're about to fuck.
When we got back to the States, we were in shock. We couldn't stay in South Africa. We had our visas revoked. And when we got back to Washington, we launched several protests with the American and South African governments. The South Africans eventually did respond. The DNA samples that they had confiscated from the university lab where they were being processed, they shared those with us.
Because the DNA readings that came back were so close to human DNA, the lab that did the tests claimed that they'd been contaminated with human DNA. How else, they said, could the genetic profiles have been so similar? They discredited the results, and they destroyed the samples.
The feeling was like something out of Orwell. This was Big Brother. They were rewriting history, basically writing this creature out of existence. And the question I asked myself is, well, why? Are they protecting their testing? Are they keeping the creatures for themselves? Are they testing the creatures? We don't know. We still don't know. All we had now was time. We just kept poring over it. The beachings with reports of bodies washing up on shore, where local officials had closed off areas, and in some cases reportedly with the help of American officers in civilian clothes. We kept thinking back to the beaching that happened right here in Washington, that naval medical team. We had thought they were analyzing their tests on whales. But now we had a slightly different theory. We tracked down the kids that had made the original report. And the Navy had spent a lot of time with these kids. They had even visited them at home. And they had convinced the kids that what they had seen was actually a seal that had decomposed, and that's why it looked strange. The boy had drawn a picture of what he saw. Now, nobody outside of the scientists we work with or the government officials that had confiscated our materials could have known what the skull reconstruction looked like. But this kid had a drawing of what he had seen, and it was a match. He had seen the same thing. And that's not all we saw. The boy's mom agreed to show it to us. They hadn't showed it to anybody. The Navy had not thought to check the kid's camera phone. Now, that's not the first time the military's gotten caught by a camera phone, but back then most people didn't even have them. I doubt the investigating officer even bothered to check it. This kid had kept it. He'd kept it all that time.
There's no way.
That looks like a little bit of a recreation to me.
That was a recreation, there's no doubt.
Yeah, that's. I can't believe they can get away without putting dramatic recreation on the bottom.
That's a little ridiculous. By the way, Mirison asks, wouldn't the radiation in Japan and the oil spills kill all the mermaids? Obviously not. There are still other sea creatures in the water. So, keep being a doubter, bitch. This is real. This is real life. This is what's going on.
This is real life right here, man. This is good.
Yeah, that's a... I want him to come back on camera and go, this is the video. I swear on my career, on my life. Like, otherwise, there's no way that's real. It looks fake as fuck anyway. It makes sense, though, that it wouldn't be dead like the whales, because the whales weren't dead. Their organs collapsed on them. And then they eventually died. Doesn't make sense that the mermaid would.
Well, do these mermaids breathe water? Wait, do they breathe underwater, or they gotta breathe air?
I mean, everything they've shown was underwater, except when the baby was born. I brought it up to the air.
Yeah, I think eventually after it was at the 2.5 million mark of evolution, I don't think they any longer had to go above water to breathe.
Okay. They're taking a lot of liberties with those recreations.
Oh, yeah, a lot of liberty.
I mean, that thing looked about as believable as it could, that video, until that fucking thing sits up and starts screaming at him.
Yeah.
And actually, honestly, the other one where they said the thing got caught in the net, that didn't look so real either.
Yeah, the deep sea fisherman that brought up the net.
Absolutely looked like a fake.
Oh, see, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's when the deep sea fishermen were fishing, then they brought it up in the net, and it looked like another creature from Pandora. You know, Avatar, James Cameron's creation. Go out and buy that Blu-ray so we can keep looking at the bottom of the ocean. It just looked like one of those creeping out of the net.
I don't know.
I'm a firm believer, though, that if the government was tracking these guys and they were using them to gain research, they definitely would show up and just snatch the documents. What's stopping them?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all fact. But I think that might not be because they had mermaids. I think it might be because, you know, they were trying to hide their weapon.
Honestly, these researchers don't even look legit. I wonder if we could even look them up as real people.
I didn't even think about doing that. Yeah, writing down all three scientists, the two hot chicks and the guy.
So I feel like the guy's a real good liar, but the girls aren't. They got twitches in their face that just don't seem like.
Oh, so all of a sudden the doctor is a lie detector. You're a mentalist.
Yeah, I got it, dude. What was that? That show, Lie to Me.
Yeah, lie to me. I mean, yeah, we can do some Google research.
All right.
Yeah, and if Google fails, you always got Wikipedia. That's 100% reliable.
Yeah, we ought to just check the dates on the updates.
Oh, and also, I think that doctor's even older than we think. It keeps saying NOAA Research Department something, 1965 to 2005. So if he worked for 40 years... No, that's impossible.
No,
that would make him like 60.
He didn't... That's not saying that's what he didn't work there that long.
Oh, they're just saying the
I
NOAA
thought it
was...
said 1999 to 2005.
Wow.
At least with the girl, it said 1999.
Right, that's what her thing said. You're saying that the doctors...
With the beard. I think it said 1965 to 2005. But that would mean 40 years of work. God, 8 years of just schooling after high school. He graduated when he was 18. 8 years would be 26.
He'd be old.
40, yeah, he would be 66. No, it's impossible.
Look
Maybe
what your
he's a
basement could
dramatic
be.
recreation, huh?
Yeah. It's impossible that he's 66.
I don't know.
Well, they're going to show the doctor again, so it's only a matter of time before we can read the bottom title.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's fast forward through this a little bit, just so that we don't run out of stick cam again.
Oh, this is going to be the wrap-up and everyone's closing opinion, just like on Jerry Springer, his final thoughts.
What'd you say, Brian?
The first time I watched the video, I remember feeling a chill, and not from the shock of seeing it alive, but I remember thinking about the moments before the sonar blast that this creature didn't stand a chance.
Okay, they lost a lot of credibility right there.
Yeah.
Not with me.
The mermaids travel with whales. They migrate from warm southern waters where, like the whales, they give birth to their young. Now they make their way to the northern feeding grounds. Whales offer protection from orcas and open ocean sharks. And females with young can draft off them, conserving energy as they swim up the long length of the Pacific coast. The deep ocean has been their last hiding place. But now, even here, there's no refuge. And whales cannot protect them from the new threats that are gathering. They swim through a stretch of water in the Pacific Northwest. U.S. Navy ships were also there that day. What happened to them next was captured on NOAA audio recordings.
We never found another living one. At least not during my tenure with the Navy. When I resigned, we weren't even sure if there were any left to be found. The creature we pulled off the beach in Washington State died in 2007. We kept it alive as long as we could. I know what I did was wrong. I knew it was wrong while I was doing it, and I have to live with that. My only hope now is that by coming forward, it might help protect any of them that are still out there.
We knew that they were washing up with the whales. What we found was that the beachings were happening along migratory routes.
They didn't just associate with the whales, they migrated with them. We were going to try to make contact.
96. I was way off.
I wonder if they took some liberties with that creation, but that thing did get up, and they just did some digital remastering for its face and stuff.
We knew we were in the right vicinity when we saw the whales. And we started the recording, and we waited to see if there was anything out there.
Imagine having mics and headphones that good, guy ball.
Oh, stop.
This is a recreation, this part.
Oh, okay.
Those are the actors, not actual video footage.
There was something out there. Brian was certain he saw something. And I'm pretty sure I saw something too. activities were being observed. I mean, this was Big Brother. And anything we would have recorded that day, we weren't going to be able to keep. We were not going to get the story out that way.
Brian was the first to leave the agency. Paul and I left Noah not long after that. I haven't spoken to Brian since he left. I believe he thinks that the only way to save them is to find them. But I don't think that anymore. And I don't think Paul does either.
Brian had become consumed, and he'll follow that call to the ends of the earth. And he may very well find them. I know he's still looking. After that day, for me, I'm not sure I can help. And I'm not even so sure we should try. I started thinking of them as fellow beings. And the last time we lived alongside a fellow human species was Neanderthals. We displaced them. Some scientists think we actively hunted them, that we devoured their very existence. It's the same thing. What we did on land, one of our own, we'll do in the sea. We're not so good at coexistence. Sometimes other responsibilities supersede science. My only goal is that the Navy stop their sonar testing. That court inquiries open into their activities that then lead to court orders to stop it. Mermaids have persisted only because they can hide. And I hope they stay that way. I hope they stay hidden. I don't want to hunt them anymore because they don't want to be found. Well, forget what we're claiming. Forget the recordings that remain. Forget the sworn affidavits from other scientists. And forget our own cultural references of mermaids. There is another culture that remembers them. Nature doesn't lie, so look to nature. There are a few places left on Earth where wild dolphins will hunt with fishermen. They'll actually help humans catch fish. This happens in Brazil, in coastal West Africa, in Southeast Asia. Fishermen go down to the edge of the water and into the shallows. They're calling them. They call in the dolphins, wild dolphins, from the sea. And the dolphins answer the call by driving in schools of fish toward shore. Then the fishermen encircle the fish schools and all the dolphins with their nets. The dolphins don't panic. They stay entirely calm. They know that the fishermen will let them out as they pull the nets tight. They let the dolphins out before they pull the fish ashore. And then the dolphins wait in the shallows, bobbing with anticipation in the water as the fishermen give them their share. They toss fish to the dolphins to eat. They divide the catch, essentially. Dolphins and people split the spoils. They share the fish they caught together. Cooperation between two animals of two different environments. There is nothing else like this on Earth, and nobody knows how it began, how this partnership started. It's one of the great mysteries of the oceans, how this partnership between people and dolphins evolved. How could people teach dolphins to do this? Well, we didn't. We didn't teach dolphins to do this, they taught us. And I think that they learned it from someone else. We are not the only culture with a memory of mermaids.
Yo, he's lucky he finished with a story like that with real footage instead of some dramatic reenactment of 2007.
Yeah, What?
They should have just done the whole 2 hours on that, man.
Yeah, I know. I'd watch a 2-hour clip on the Brazilian fishermen using the dolphins to help trap them in their net.
Hell yeah, dude.
So what do you think? That was pretty badass, right? That was worth watching for 2 hours?
Oh yeah, the mermaid show
Yeah.
on Animal Planet. Yeah, I definitely.
Yeah, what we just watched. Yeah.
Yeah, what I just watched. Yeah, excellent. CGI was by Bandito, so thank you, Bandito, for all those dramatic reenactments of mermaids that look like avatars.
Great work.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a couple things I have. One being the drawing that they got from the kid and they saw, and it was an exact replica of what they did. Obviously, that drawing that they were showing was not the actual drawing that the kid drew.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can discredit how fucking alien-like that looked. I don't know. I mean, in summary, do we have anything here to say about this? Guyblo, do you feel as though mermaids could have or still do exist the way they depict them?
After watching his Animal Planet special on mermaids, I 100% think that mermaids probably did exist, but I just don't know if they do now. And once again, I'm very naive when it comes to watching documentaries on TV. Pretty much if you dress up 3 people, give them a label of scientist, and then give me any type of fragment of a fact, my mind will run with it, and I'm very naive. So yeah, I think they did exist.
Future Dr. Butters, what is your feeling on what you watched?
It was fun to watch, man, but that was it, man.
So
This is
as a doctor in the future, you are going on record, someone who studies the environment.
Yeah, here's the thing. I can't say they don't exist, but I can't say they put any good evidence out.
You don't think there was good evidence in that?
No, I don't think there's anything that like stands up. No.
You don't think the spears and shit?
What did they show us a spear? Give me a spear, like.
They showed spears.
They showed pictures of spears. Sure, like.
They showed spears in. Maybe you didn't see it because it was in the beginning. They showed pictures of spears in Wales.
But why couldn't those just be? I mean, sure. I mean, people use spears. All sorts of cultures use spears. Why couldn't something get speared, and then like ended up in a net? You know.
Well, I think you're a hater. That's just me.
Well, I think so too. Anyway, I don't know. It was super fun to watch, man. They
definitely entertained me for 2 hours. If not entertained, it had me wanting to know what was going to happen further and further after every commercial. So I guess a better word was it kept me interested.
And you know what? I'd like to look into it further.
Yeah, I kind of want to do a deep sea fishing trip up at Wakanda. Up at our camp there, see if there's anything in Blueberry Pond.
Could be.
I don't know.
Saw a big turtle drop in there the other day.
Was you sure it was a turtle dropping, or do you think it was a mermaid dropping?
No, I saw the turtle.
Oh, you saw the turtle fall in.
Yeah.
Oh, a turtle drop. I thought you meant
he walked all the way across the field. Took him about an hour.
Yeah.
Went into the water.
Well, there you go, folks. Dr.
There are turtles. There truly are.
Dr. Butterworth says there are turtles. However, he is skeptical on
mermaids.
I wish they stuck with the aquatic ape theorem and didn't give it a fucking tail like that. That kind of bothered me.
That it just developed one in a couple of million years.
Over 7 million years.
Yeah, that it just turned into pretty much a dark depiction of a mermaid that we saw in the Disney Channel movie.
Yeah. Bremison wants to know how your cup of noodles was.
Well, Tom actually didn't go with cup of noodles today because there was a surprise birthday party for a coworker. So I actually went garbage bread, 2 kinds, homemade salsa.
Do you like homemade salsa better than like Tostito salsa?
I wouldn't even be able to tell the difference unless someone goes, "Yo, this is homemade."
For shizzle?
Straight up.
I can't stand homemade salsa. I think it sucks every time I try it.
I wouldn't have even known it was homemade unless someone nudged me and said it.
So it must have been good then.
I loved it.
Wow, look at you.
It was banging. She said she made it in a food processor.
She didn't use the slap chop?
No, she didn't slap chop. It's a food processor, and it was very... And everyone I work with likes to brag about all the utensils, or I'm sorry, what are they called when it's a kitchen? Oh, kitchen appliances. Everyone brags about kitchen appliances they own. So not only was it a food processor, but it could be used as a blender as well.
Oh, it was one of the kitchen-made expensive ones.
Yeah, it could do everything.
My sister just got one of those for her and Jordan's wedding shower. $300 kitchen.
Yeah, I guess they're expensive.
Yeah.
Chop ice, processed food.
Yep. I have one of those out there, a $20 blender that I made margaritas with, or strawberry daiquiris with. That helped contribute to my massive weight gain over the weekend before the weight loss competition.
Oh, you made margaritas too?
No, strawberry daiquiris.
Oh, strawberry daiquiris.
With a strawberry margarita mix. So.
Did you go tequila or rum?
Rum.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to tequila. I'm Polish.
No, but tequila just, yeah.
It's to kill you.
Yeah, it's no good.
By the way, earlier I reported that my father is getting married for a third time. I was wrong.
He actually just changed his mind while we were watching the show?
No, I prematurely reported. Earlier in the day, I wrote, has anyone seen anything ever but a number 2 pencil? Because people were stressing out at work today over number 2 pencils for a test that we're supposed to take.
Okay.
And they were like, I don't know if this is number 2. It doesn't say it. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, every fucking pencil is number 2. That's the biggest lie in the history, that you need a number 2 pencil that says number 2. It's something that Bic made up to sell their product. And my father told me, he wrote number 3. He tweeted me messaged me number 3 on my phone, and his girlfriend wrote, your father said yes on my Facebook wall. I thought that meant, he said he'd never ask another woman to marry him. I thought that meant that she asked him and he said yes.
Oh,
and
so you got it mixed up.
Right, and he wrote to me number 3. Apparently she was saying yes to, yes, your father says there are pencils other than number 2. And then when he tweeted me, he was saying number 3 was the other type of pencil type. So
yeah, people get that mixed up all the time. Marriage proposals or numbers of pencils.
Lots of things that we're discovering here today on Rain Man and Guy Blow. If this is your first time listening to us and you're watching on YouTube currently, because that's where this video is going, you can tune in every Wednesday from like 9 till midnight on socialcrime.com. Or you can go to rainmanguyeblow.com, click listen live there, and also follow along as the producer updates everything. We have about 50 seconds left of recording. You got anything you want to say?
Yeah, when you go to rainmanguyeblow.com, click on the audio page and subscribe, either via iTunes or the RSS feed is right there for everyone who owns an Android phone. And I recommend downloading Podkicker. I think that's the best one because you can multitask all your apps with Podkicker.
Agreed.
So you can send text messages and stream the show at the same time.
20 seconds, Dr. Butters, you got anything? You want to tell the people what you're working on with your research here?
Not in 20 seconds.
How about 15?
Well, thanks for having me, dudes.
Thanks for coming.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We had a great time tonight.
Watch.
And
I'm going to have to bother the producers. I'm going to load this up.
It's, yeah, he'll